This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. Nikol Pashinyan spoke by phone yesterday with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken about the state of the normalization process with Azerbaijan and ties between Yerevan and Washington, the Armenian Prime Minister's office said. The readout provided little additional information. This comes just days after members of the U.S. Congress indicated that there is clear bipartisan support to provide Armenia with additional support without giving further details. Most recently, in July, Blinken facilitated a meeting between Armenia's and Azerbaijan's top diplomats on the sidelines of this year's NATO summit in Washington, though there were no public indications of any further progress toward a normalization deal at the time. After that meeting, Blinken said they will take stock of where we are and see what more the United States can do to help the two sides reach an agreement. At the time, he said he believed that both countries are very close to being able to reach a final agreement, one that the United States would strongly support. Since then, Pashinyan and Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev have also indicated they are close to a deal, with a majority of a draft text already agreed upon. However, there are still major sticking points, including Azerbaijan's demands for Armenia to cede it an extraterritorial corridor and for Armenia to remove an indirect reference to Nagorno-Karabakh from its constitution before a deal can be made. Blinken has repeatedly urged the parties to settle the conflict without delay. Meanwhile, today in Yerevan, Pashinyan met with Russian Deputy Prime Minister Alexei Overchuk to review relations, according to a readout from the Prime Minister's office that was sparse on details. In recent months, Russia has sought to renew its role in the normalization process. In other diplomatic news, Armenian Defense Minister Surem Papikyan met with his Chinese counterpart Dong Jun during a trip to Beijing yesterday to talk about the possibility of forming closer military ties. The sides emphasized that Armenian-Chinese military cooperation has noticeably progressed in recent years, encompassing new directions, Armenia's defense ministry said in a statement, adding, "The ministers expressed readiness to further develop Armenia-China cooperation, including high-level contacts between the armed forces of the two countries." No further details about Babikyan's trip to China have been made available. In recent years, China has become one of Armenia's biggest trade partners, up to $1.4 billion in the first half of the year, representing a year-on-year increase of 42%. In addition, Armenia is one of the very few countries in the world that has visa-free travel to China. In other foreign relations developments, Belarus's president expressed hopes yesterday for a return of good relations between his country and Armenia, but deflected blame for the fact that ties have worsened significantly this year. It would be nice if, as before, despite all the shortcomings and nuances, we built good relations with Armenia. Believe me, it is absolutely not our fault. Alexander Lukashenko was quoted as saying by the Belarusian state news agency Belta. Instead, he placed the blame on Pashinyan and his administration's ongoing pivot to the West. Lukashenko mocked Armenia over the shift in a television interview last month, saying, "Who needs the Armenians besides us? No one needs them." Earlier this year, Pashinyan accused Belarus, a formal ally in the Russia-led Collective Security Treaty Organization military alliance, of supporting Azerbaijan during the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh war. As a result, Pashinyan declared, "I will never visit Belarus again as long as Alexander Lukashenko is the president," and similarly barred all other Armenian officials from visiting the country. For his part, Lukashenko claimed yesterday that he tried to help Armenia and warned that not giving Nagorno-Karabakh to Azerbaijan would start another war, but that Pashinyan did not listen. Check out the latest episode of CivilNet's Weekly Insights series. This week, host Eric Hakopian discusses Armenia's development path, focusing on Yerevan's frequent power outages and the need for a new electrical grid. Eric also breaks down the release from prison of former Defense Minister David Tonoyan last month, and what to expect from Parliament's ongoing review of the 2020 Artsakh War. You can find the full broadcast up now on our website at civilnet.am or through the link in the video description below. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 14. That's because excavations over the past month in Armenia's western Ararat region have revealed the ruins of a medieval church that dates to the 14th century. The ruins are located on the site of Spitak Monastery in Lanjanist village. Per a report earlier this week by Radio Azaduchun, RFERL's Armenian service, a number of khachkars and the altar have been found. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.